Welcome to Yesterday, Today, Tomorrow. My name is Mariana Cordier, and I am your host. Today, we're going to talk about agriculture, the importance and its participation in our state and in our county. My first guest is Rose Green Colby, who is with Maryland 4-H Foundation. And my other guest is Saman Kadir Ahmed, who is regularly on the show, an attorney, and has information for us from the Montgomery County Ag Reserve. So ladies, welcome so much. Welcome to the show. And Rose, I wanted to hear about the great work that Maryland 4-H Foundation is doing. Can you educate us a little bit about it?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Thank you so much. And it's great to be here with both of you today. So the Maryland 4-H Foundation specifically was established in 1959 to support 4-H programs in the state of Maryland. We are also supported by the University of Maryland as part of the University of Maryland Extension Program.
The extension program. Let me stop you for half a second. What is 4-H?
Oh, great. So 4-H actually is one of the largest youth serving organizations in the United States. Just about every state has a 4-H program, and a lot of military bases in other countries as well. American military bases also have 4-H programs. 4-H was initially started as a way to encourage young people to be involved in agriculture, raising livestock, learning about farming techniques, really continuing the family farm in many cases, especially in the middle America states. But now 4-H has really expanded and is serving young people in urban areas, in county programs, as well as continuing their rural focus. And the 4-H's, 4-H actually stands for head, heart, hands, and health. Those are the 4-H's.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Say it again. It's what?
So as part of the 4-H pledge, I pledge my head for clearer thinking, my heart for greater loyalty, my hands to larger service, and my health to better living. So those are the 4 parts that I think all young people, when they start in 4-H, learn that pledge and continue on through the year.
That's amazing, because it really gives you a sense of, commitment and community, and it's so important. I mean, if we don't know how to grow or have animals and such for our food sources, it could be detrimental to the good of everybody.
Right. And you can see where the environment and conservation come into it as well. So building community and civic engagement is a big part of 4-H. Developing those leadership skills. Young people are learning about the basic agriculture skills, but they're also learning about public speaking, about leadership. We do have a very large teen leadership program that young people can join, but they're also learning a lot of different skill building as well. So exploration of creativity and learning, workforce readiness and career skills are a big part of it, as well as the healthy living and having a good sense of your mental health as well as your physical health as well.
And what are the age groups of the youth that participate in these programs? And my follow-up question would be where?
Right. So ages really range anywhere from elementary school age up to high school. So the 4-H program officially stops when you graduate from high school, and then you go on to be part of an agriculture program, we hope, at a university. A wide range of ages, different types of programs depending on your age. And the programs happen all over the state of Maryland. Every county has a separate county office, a county extension office that has a 4-H leader as part of that. And then most of the programs are really run by volunteers. Families and volunteers run the different clubs and also activities that 4-H participants are involved in. So you can find a 4-H program in every county in Maryland as well as Baltimore City. So we do like to say counties and cities in Maryland.
So out of curiosity, for kids that are in the elementary school age, what kind of programs would they be involved in?
Mm-hmm. They might be involved in everything from everything from creative, um, well, starting with many of them are actually involved in raising livestock, raising animals. I got to participate in a couple of judgings for different livestock, raising lambs, raising goats, raising chickens. And then as they get older, getting into the larger livestock and horse programs as well. So a wide range of livestock and farming animals from young ages up to, but also then all of the sort of creative and leadership kind of skills starting at a very young age as well. We have mentoring in terms of the teen leadership groups. We have a mentoring program where young people are mentored by the teens and learning about various subjects, learning about how to start a volunteer program in a volunteer project in your community, learning about the importance of conservation and the environment in our local communities, really taking all the different topics that 4-H covers and sharing them back and forth between the different age groups.
So I know that with agriculture, people don't automatically think environmental conservation and concerns about the environment, when in fact agriculture is super involved and concerned about that.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. In terms of things like, we hear a lot of talk in the news lately about pollinators, the importance of pollinators. Well, of course, pollinators are incredibly important to our agriculture industry, right? If we don't have the right pollinators, bees and butterflies and other things pollinating our tomatoes and our different crops out there, then they're not going to grow very well. And we're not going to have enough for the businesses to share. So teaching young people about even those pieces of it, what's important to making sure that our agriculture industry thrives in Maryland, not just from the livestock side of things, but also from the food and vegetable and agriculture, the growing side of things as well. There are many activities that are also related back to health and wellness then. Making sure that are you growing the kinds of foods in your own home garden or in your local garden that will help improve your own health and the health of your family. So definitely making those connections is important for young people too.
And I've seen that, I don't know if your program has it, your foundation, but I've seen that there are programs about encouraging pollinators and helping them or rescuing them when someone calls and says they've got a beehive. What am I going to do with the beehive? So that they're not exterminated, which I thought was kind of cool. It scares me. I wouldn't go near a beehive for $1 million, but
yeah, I've heard about that. And we also have connections through the University of Maryland's entomology and also the extension program, where we have access to folks who are specialists in different insects and different pollinators, and we're able to share a lot of that information. There's also a Master Gardener program that's part of the University of Maryland Extension, and that's a great community service that's offered separate from 4-H.
And so when these kids participate in these programs, are they free? Do they have to pay a membership or a donation? How does that work?
Yeah, there is a small registration fee when you join 4-H for the first time, and I believe you pay the fee annually. It's usually somewhere between $10 and $15, not more than that. And then each club or each activity then will have different fees depending on what they're working on. For the most part, they're very low, and oftentimes they're waived, or the local county actually raises money to help pay for their young people to stay involved and stay active in their clubs. So the initial cost is low to join. The costs really come in, and where the foundation comes in is to help raise money for contests, whether they're going on a regional contest to perhaps participate in horse judging, or what we call hippology, which is the study of horses, but also for the different livestock programs where there might be judging for cattle, judging for sheep and goats. as well as judging for plants that they've grown in their farms and gardens as well. So
So, so
these
it occurs
contests
to
can get
me, that's amazing, but what happens if you've got kids that live in, I don't want to say inner city because we don't really have
yeah,
inner city except
absolutely.
for maybe Baltimore, but um, for the kids that are in a more urban setting,
Mhm.
how is it that they get to learn this stuff?
Well, we've expanded the program areas for 4-H have expanded over the years just for that very reason. That how do we serve young people that aren't living in a rural area where they have access to farms and access to livestock programs? Um, and we've expanded into doing more what are called STEM programs. You're familiar with science, technology, engineering, and math, which is a popular term that's used a lot now in youth development programs. And um, we have uh, we have engaged lots of different partners through the university and through a lot of the corporations that we work with in Maryland. And we're offering great programs in 3D printing, in engineering, beginning engineering for young people, robotics, teaching them how to build robots, as well as rocketry and aerospace. All of those things are embedded into the STEM programs, and we have specialists on our team that work with different vendors and providers to offer those kinds of programs. And these young people do the same kind of thing. They learn together in a group. They do projects and have them judged. And then they go on to state and national competitions with other 4-H young people who are involved in the same. And they often come back with great awards. We have some many awards actually for our STEM teams and our robotics teams over the years have won national competitions.
That's a
So we're
great
very
exposure for the kids and for the programs, I'm sure as well. And it seems to be, I don't know, more expensive than just what we typically think of as agriculture.
and we're always raising money for these young people to be able to go on these contests. Many of them are offered in other states. You're meeting together with other 4-H participants from these other states. And these are, life-changing opportunities for these young people to go to, a horse judging contest in Lexington, Kentucky, or a STEM contest in Orlando, Florida. And so that's a big part of our mission, is to enable these young people to be able to participate in those contests.
Is there a website, or where could they get their parents or themselves, if they're watching, access to the information to explore?
Yes, so there is a website for the Maryland 4-H Foundation, and there is also a website for the 4-H program. They are separate. The Maryland 4-H Foundation is My Maryland, the number 4H Foundation.com. And for the University of Maryland 4-H program, you can actually find it through the Agriculture and Natural Resources Department of the University of Maryland. If you go to the department's webpage, you can find more information about 4-H there. And then all of the county offices, county extension offices, are listed there. And that's really the first step. If you, for instance, live in Prince George's County and you're interested in having your child sign up for 4-H, you would first go to the Prince George's County office for the 4-H and extension programs and sign them up there. And then as you grow up and go through the program, all of these other opportunities come your way. You might get involved in the STEM programs, or you might have an interest in the health and wellness and the teen leadership program. So there's lots of opportunities as a young person grows and moves through the programs.
Well, I love the fact that it gives them an opportunity to explore different aspects of life. I mean, being a leader, participating in competitions, whether it's, growing something or judging animals, or, doing the STEM competition. I love the idea of robotics.
Yeah, the
It
rocketry.
sounds like so much fun. It's not something I would probably do well at, but it sounds super fun.
Right. And let's not forget summer camps too. It is summer. Unfortunately, last year we were not able to offer in-person summer camps, but our staff did an amazing job of creating a camp in a box, and we're able to send summer camp kits out to a lot of our club members. Some of them even hand delivered to their homes. so that the young people could still participate in a lot of the same fun activities. They would join Zoom classrooms like this and participate with a camp counselor with a group of kids. And for that summer, summer 2020, that worked pretty well. We're back to in-person camps this year. And the kids are already signed up for July and August. We're training our camp counselors right now as we speak. And we'll be having camps at several sites around the state. One of our best ones is I wouldn't say best ones, one of the favorites is the Western Maryland camp, which is near Deep Creek Lake.
Oh, I think I need to sign
familiar?
up for that one.
It's a beautiful spot, very popular. But we also have camps on the Eastern Shore. We have one in Frederick, Maryland, and we also have another in another part of the state that I'm not remembering. But we have about 4 different locations for summer camps.
Awesome. Awesome. And Saman, sorry to keep you out waiting, but let me ask you, how important is the Montgomery County Ag Reserve? And how does it impact our county?
I think the Ag Reserve is probably the best kept secret in Montgomery County. It is actually one of our crown jewels. If people don't know about them, what is the Ag Reserve, right? The Ag Reserve begins from, if we're looking south to north, it's the western part of the county, which goes from the Potomac River right opposite of Leesburg, where White Ferry begins, as many have seen, and goes all the way up through Dickerson, Maryland, maybe even, and Barnesville, maybe. I might be wrong about Barnesville, but it's literally if you're looking at 270 to the right, it's Clarksburg. To the left is the Agricultural Reserve, and it'll take you to the line where Frederick County ends. And really, what is the Agricultural Reserve? The Agricultural Reserve is basically protected conservation land. And the bottom line there is that, developers cannot come in and do mass development, may it be for commercial purposes or residential purposes. And so I think that's what's allowed a lot of families, especially agricultural families, to survive in our county, because there's just so much that happens there that people don't even realize. There's a 400-acre animal sanctuary that if an animal is unwanted, you can go release it there and they can actually live in the wild. That's amazing.
So cool. I did not know that. That is
and
awesome.
Did you know you can have a birthday party there?
No, I didn't.
They just say only vegetarian pizza, so Domino's delivers. But it's a great. But the thing is, people don't know about that, or the fact that I think that Rose can speak to it. There is that huge 200-acre equestrian center there, where yes, you can learn horseback riding, but how do you really learn? You want to be able to ride the horses in the open environment in their natural landscape, right? You have different garden centers. They have acres and acres of land where they grow trees, so that way they can sell it, in this part of the county. And the Agricultural Reserve is a very unique situation where it's not very far from a suburban environment. It's just protected from becoming suburban. And that's the beauty of it. And there's a lot of environmental reasons why the Agricultural Reserve is important. One of the most basic reasons is if you have an urban or suburban population and you are around a large body of water, you want to have the agricultural land to protect you in case there's flooding. And you see cities like Houston that don't have any protected land around them, and you see the flooding that happens, as last year happened, and
Right.
several times. So and then the other thing is that I think there is a changing in philosophy with farming too, is that there's a lot of farms that have kind of changed the way they do their business operations, where they're not actually farming. What they are is learning centers. And I took my kids out a month ago to Cavella Farm. And what it is it's a teaching farm. And you can actually enroll and take a gap year and you can work on a farm. And we forget that it's not just, to be honest, for me, STEM is also life experiences. And how do you do things to understand what is your food source? People talk about healthy living, and the question is, what is healthy living? Do you know the ABCs about food? Or is it just what people tell you on CNN and Forbes, and this is the next best thing, and this is how much protein and carbs they have in it? That's not it. There's good carbs, bad carbs. But until you work the land, you understand the seasonality of the fruits, the spices, the vegetables, then you're going to understand what are the benefits of them. And, you know, my physician, she's always had a philosophy, you know, there's nothing that's bad for you. God created everything for a reason.
That's
So
great. I mean,
enjoy it.
I can use that philosophy.
But the thing is that it's about understanding it, and people now with that land being protected, I think that the farming communities are beginning to become more attractive to individuals where they want to actually take their children to learn about it. If COVID has taught us anything, it's the fact that sometimes back to the basics is the biggest thing in the world, where we are forced to live in a more natural environment. When the arcades and the bowling, everything was closed. Where could you go? You could only go to the agricultural reserve because that was not closed. And you discover all that's there. And I think that unfortunately, not enough people know about it for the interest that you can foster in children. And that's the beauty of, I mean, it's the environment. There's no cost to it.
And Simone, when we're talking about the Ag Reserve and all the wonderful activities and learning opportunities, how do people figure out what's out there or what they can find to go and take the kids?
To be honest, it's really kind of, I wish that I could say that I know that Montgomery County has a tourism site and they have an Instagram handle where you can follow a lot of things. I don't know how well known it is. So oftentimes for people like I'm second generation Montgomery County almost. So, you know, if I've got friends that have been to something or they discover something, they'll share it. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was in my backyard. I didn't know Clavella was in my backyard. And it was the most beautiful experience I'd been to in ages. And you check it out. The same thing goes with, you know, a sheep growing operation. Apparently they grow their own sheep that's naturally dyed wool. You can find purple wool, and people come from all over the world, not the world, but the country to actually do buying from that family. And
that's amazing. I mean, I think that sometimes we forget that we have some really special gems in the state and the county. And Rose, you know, how, for someone who's, you know, not inclined to be so knowledgeable about agriculture and these programs or whatever, how would you tell them to navigate figuring out these opportunities and taking advantage of them?
Specifically around 4-H, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you could start here in the state office. The state office is based at the University of Maryland, College Park. And just start by talking to a couple of our specialists in the different areas, whether they're working on livestock programs, the STEM programs, the leadership programs. We have a specialist here at the office for each of those, and they could help guide a family or a participant into what their interests are. There's really two different ways that 4-H participants can join. They can either join a local club when they're a young person and work with their volunteer leaders in their county, or they could actually join a specialty group right from the beginning. For instance, the STEM program, join it and really focus their time on that and work on projects with other young people around the state. So those are the two different opportunities.
And I think it's a great opportunity for the kids too, now that they're trying to get back to socialization and you know, I imagine some of these programs are outdoors. So if you're more hesitant because of COVID, being outdoors really helps. Whereas if you're a little bit more adventurous, you know, you can do some of these programs that would be inside and meeting with other folks and having an opportunity to do something outside of the house. Samad, does a bunch of, is this information that people share about these little gems that we have in Montgomery County on Instagram or on Facebook?
Yeah, I think it's got to, if you search Google Montgomery County tourism or something, it should be able to come up. Or there's another organization, it's called the Montgomery County Agricultural Alliance. And they do a lot of spotlighting too of like all the different things that are going on in the county. May it be, you know, the Guernsey cows is the only milk producing operation that's left in the county if you want fresh milk. And I think that oftentimes also people that actually make an extra effort are those that are having a lot of health related issues where they require a more conscious diet. You know, you can get fresh milk. That's a beautiful thing, to not have to go very far. And a lot of these local farming operations, one of the best nuggets of knowledge is that if you go to the farmers market, like the Bethesda farmers market, or the one in Germantown or something like that, you will see a lot of the local brands that are doing their own farming, agricultural, all of that production in the county, and you can buy from there. And then you can actually go directly to the source.
I discovered the Germantown, it's actually the Black Rock Art Center's Artisan and Farmers Market. That's going to be on Saturdays. I think from Saturday, July 17th on, they have it from 10 to 2. And I love it because there was a whiskey distillery that was local.
Yes.
They had the milk, eggs, and oh my goodness, the vegetables are amazing. So it's always great to get locally grown vegetables. So I think that's wonderful. We're running out of time. So Rose, I've got a last question for you. Are the fairs on this summer? The state fairs for the 4-H and stuff?
Thank you for asking that. That's the other big thing. How could I forget? Yes, this year, the county and the state fairs are almost all, I think, happening. There may be 1 or 2 counties where they've decided to either postpone or do more virtual programming. But for the most part, you should be able to find a county fair starting in July and running through until the end of September, all through Maryland. The state fair is the last week of August and the first week of September, ending on Labor Day.
Awesome. So that's great. And that's the perfect ending. Thank you to my guests and to the audience for watching us, and stay tuned for our future shows. You can find us on Facebook and on YouTube, and see you next time.